Fox and the Hound Tavern. Let me actually put it here so you can actually see it better. This is an old piece of wood, and then we took the Harper Mould, the Fox and the Hound, Tavern, and established. So we're going to have fun with this mold today. So we're going to put this up here. And before we get started, though, I want to show something. I'm so proud of this door. See behind me? This is the Chateau paint inlay. And hey, Veronica, or yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Veronica and Corey. This is the Chateau paint inlay, which is by far, I love this one. This one, I just love the color scheme. It's perfect. And then on top of this, I actually put some fine line crackle, which is amazing, and then some wax, and then I sealed it. I'm going to be doing this on my own YouTube channel, start to finish, starting next week. But this is the Chateau paint inlay. Look how gorgeous this is. So many people are using this one. I've seen it on dressers. I've seen it on jewelry boxes. I've seen it on walls. It is just amazing. Has anybody out there used the Chateau paint inlay yet? Hey, Marianne. It's once you get past the part of being nervous of the paint inlay, they are amazing. Sometimes you just have to go for it. I've been giving away little samples here at the shop so people can go home and try them out. And then once they get confident with them, then they come back and they've been buying them. So they are so much fun. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and I'm going to pull up my my little workspace here. Let me see if I can straighten it out because nobody wants to be crooked. No crooked. There we go. So what I have is this board here. This is just a board that I got from the craft store. You can already see that I've painted it and prepped for this morning. What I did was, do you see like some of the texture? So let's get up closer. See the texture on there? What I did was I just used some texture additive. There's all different kinds of texture additive. You can get, let's see, you can do sea spray or salt wash. There's all different kinds. You can make your own. But first I stained the board. Then I mixed my texture additive with some white paint. And then I just splashed it on, no rhyme or reason. But what I did want to do is I wanted to leave some brown because I want it to look old. Now, if you've watched me before, you know that I love layers. Whether it's painting or whatever I'm doing. Hey, Lulu. I know that's not your name, but I'm trying to think. What is your first name again? I know this. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I love layers. So we're going to create another layer. So we already have the layer of the stain underneath. Then we have the paint and the texture additive. Now we're going to use my favorite stamp. I love this stamp. This is the vintage texture stamp. And then this one, it comes with 4 chippy paint and a couple other ones, but this is the one that I use all the time. Now, sometimes I'll use real crackle, but other times this is my go-to because this is so realistic. I compared it to a door actually this door back here, it has some real crackle on it from years ago, and it is amazing how similar they are. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my black ink. Make sure this is the black. No, that's stone. I'm going to use black. Now, normally I use my brayer and I put the ink on that way, but the brayer will give you more ink on here, and I just want light ink, so I'm going to use my stamp pad. I did not re-ink it just because I don't want it to be too heavy. So what you do is you just take your stamp and you take your pad and you get some ink on it. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to, without any rhyme or reason, we're going to just put this on. And there you go. Let's see if get it in a little bit closer. There we go. So you see that? Now look how realistic that looks. I love it. That's why this stamp is my go-to. Put some more ink on. They also, back in the day, they had a bigger one like this one. I'm sure they might still have it in stock at some of your local retailers. Speaking of local retailers, in the description, you will find a list of online retailers and local retailers, so you can go get all this fun stuff. All right, just over here. And I need to balance this out. Just using the remainder ink. Now look at that. Now you're not going to really see, well, you're not going to see part of it because we're going to use, now comes the fun part. The Harper Mould. I love this mold, and you can tell because it's really kind of filthy right now. Hi, everybody. I have some clay left over in here, and look, I left one letter in here. I'm going to tell you what this letter is. Normally, when I'm using the Harper Mold, I always tend to use the air dry clay, which is this right here. Air dry clay. Now, I decided because this had so many letters that I was going to go ahead and use the resin. And guess what? It worked so good. I love the resin because when you pop the letters out, they are they won't get warped or manipulated. You can also get the same thing if you take your air dry clay, put it in, stick it in the freezer for a minute, then pop them out. That'll do the same thing too. But let me just show you. Look, so this is resin. I have this. This is an ivory resin. It's just something I carry at the shop, the ivory resin. So when you pop it out, I don't have to worry about bending or distorting the letter because it's air dry clay. This is resin, so it works fabulously. All right. Now, we are going to lay this out. How many of you have heard of thin mounts? Hey, Linda, how are you? Anybody ever used a thin mount? Now these, when I first became a stockist, I was like, what are these? However, these are fabulous. So what it is, it's a piece of plastic, and there's all kinds of lines and grids. So the blue is the center, and then the black is just the grid equally apart both ways. And then you have these red lines here. These red lines are for curved letters. These are normally used for stamps, but I decided that I wanted to put my letters on, what's that called? There's a term for it. I want to do a curve. So what I did was I simply just cut out, I cut out the top part so I can line them up. So I cut on that red line there. So now when I put this down, I'll know exactly how my letters are going to go. I know this is supposed to look like an old sign, but it still should look semi straight, because they even had, some people were very particular in the old days too. They wanted everything to be straight. All right, I was looking for, nope, all right. So this is 12 inches across, so I'm going to line up the blue line at exactly 6 inches, so it is centered. Oh, I know, Laura, they are great, aren't they? And the best part is you can cut them apart to do whatever size stamp or line up for your letters that you want. Now, our letters are Fox and, oops, I just bit him a little bit. And then Hound. Now, I'm just putting them up here so you can see them. Now, to get them to be centered, I do have this here, but how do you know where to start? This is how I do it. What I do is I count up the letters, including the spaces. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So half of 13 would be that, right in the middle there would be 7. So I would put letter number 7 right here in the center and then work around this way. Make sense? All right. So we're going to do that right now. You'll see that I have some ivory resin letters, but I had to make a couple of the air dry. I ran out of the resin that I mixed, so I just did the air dry clay ones. And I'm just using heavy body gel. It's a mixed media glue. It is amazing. It keeps everything on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 would be the D. So I'm going to pick up the D, and I'm going to start gluing this on. And normally I use wood glue, but this heavy body gel works really well. And it's made for like mixed media, to glue things on your scrapbooking stuff and mixed media projects. And that glue, it's really good bonding. Okay, so I'm going to stick it right there. And then we're going to work our way out from there. I just need to get my glasses on because it's easier for me to see when I have my readers on. Oops. All right, so let's go ahead and finish these letters out. To see, do I have any questions? Any questions so far? All right. If you're from this area, we got really lucky. We had a tropical storm that was supposed to come hit us over the weekend. We had some bad rain on Friday, a little bit of flooding in certain areas, but other than that, then it was supposed to rain all weekend, but Saturday, around what, maybe noon, it cleared up, and it was a gorgeous day, and it was beautiful out Sunday, so we were able to go out in the boat and just have a nice day. I tell you what, we always joke around here, you never know what the weather is going to be like. It could rain for 5 minutes, or 5 hours, or it'll look like it's going to rain and then it doesn't rain at all. Okay, so this, I'm just using my palette knife and I'm sticking these on, and I'm just following around the curve. This is the curve of the thin mount if you're just tuning in. And let's get the D. Now, we have a lot to get to, and I just wanted to kind of show you how we do put these on. I already have a board that's ready to go, so we can start with the details, because I like to come on here and be able to show you from start to finish what it's going to look like. But I just want to finish putting the top part on because I want you to see how well these thin mounts work when you use it to line up your letters. I have to be very delicate with this one because this one is the air dry clay and it's not quite dry yet. I'm just following the curve around the thin mount. And you can see my fingers are really dirty. It's because that heavy body gel is just sticking to my fingers when I was playing earlier, when I was doing the one that I'm going to show you in just a minute. In this, I chose the matte for the glue, so it'll dry clear. If I would have chose glossy, the gloss would have shown through, and I didn't want that. So, and then a little space for the X. Now what's nice is I can, by this thin mount, there's a line here, so I can make sure when I get to my F, I can make sure that I did it perfectly so that there will be straight. Oops, a little too much there. And another thing about this is kind of thick, so if you have your resin letters and there might be a little gap, this will fill that gap in. And finally the F, and it should go right across here. Perfect. Normally I'm kind of a eyeball it, but with this thin mount it was just too easy not to use. All right. There we go. So you can see, even though there's slight discoloration because this was the air dry clay, these were the resin, you can see that it's perfectly rounded just for that. All right, now let me show you one other thing. I poured the Resin Fox. I noticed with the Fox, when I did my first one here, this sign here, his feet were very fragile, and I just figured I'd just go ahead and do that one with the resin, but I'm going to show you this. Now, these molds just keep getting better and better and better. The detail on these molds are incredible. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the air dry clay for this, the Hound. Oops. Oh, crap. And I want to pop it out of the mold, and I want you to see how detailed like his fur is. It's incredible. got a little bit of dried resin here. I'm going to pull it off. All right, so again, with these molds, these things are really easy to use because they also have that little micro rim, which helps get the clay, the edge of the clay that you're using, to have a nice edge. There also is measurements that tell you exactly how much clay you need, but I don't have a little scale right here handy. That's more for your perfectionists out there. I don't mind scraping it back, putting a little bit too much. All right, so. And you can also use the cornstarch in your mold to help get it to release better. Again, or you can put in your freezer, help get it to release better. So let's pop out our Resin Fox and then our air dry clay Hound. So the resin obviously will be a little bit more stable. So there we go. So there's the Fox. Now, because he is still wet, I don't have time to go put him in the freezer, so we're just going to pop him out. Normally when you pop out your molds, I just turn them upside down and I start rolling it back. Let me see if I get that. And then I just lightly start pushing down on the clay. I want to be really slow because of his legs. They're a little fragile. Though if they do break off, I can just put them back in place when I glue it. So far, so good. I always hold my breath when I do this part. There's one leg, two legs, nice. And then his legs up here. Come on. Ah, perfect. Got it. Okay. Now, I'm just going to hold him up. Got a piece of dried resin on there. And I want you to look at the detail on the Hound. See all of his fur and look at his tail. Look at his little face. The detail on these molds are incredible. All right, so I'm going to do it the same way. I'm just going to take the heavy body gel and I'm just going to put it in the back. And I'm remembering that the D was the center, so I want to make sure the Fox goes to the middle. And then let's put the Hound on there. Oh, using a palette knife like this is so much easier. I used to use the paintbrush with the wood glue, and I tell you what, it would become a mess. But this is working great. All right. I'm going to put that up. Thanks, Susan. The mold is just amazing, isn't it? So what's nice about here is the resin, I can't do it, but with him, I can put his tail, I can kind of play, I can put his tail up. There we go. And now remember with the clay, you don't want to stretch it, because if you do stretch it, that is when you can get cracking. You don't want cracking. All right, so look, here we go. This is what we have so far. Then what I would do is on the thin mount part, I could turn it over if I wanted the tavern to go concave. But we're not going to worry about that right now because look, I already have this ready to go. Oh wait, maybe I should show you something real quick. Hold on, hold that thought. I do want to show you how easy it is to paint these, both the resin and the clay, while this is still wet. So let me just get my brushes out. I already started on one, so I have this metallic bronze here that I'm going to be using. This is going to be on the Fox because foxes are orangish. And look. And the detail on the Fox is incredible too. You can see his fur. And his tail. Look at his tail. It's all fluffy. Does anybody live where they have a lot of foxes around? Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the sides right now. I just want to kind of show you how nicely it paints. And now here I'm going to do a chocolate on the hound. And it's also a metallic or a metal looking color. I want to make sure I go a little bit lighter when I'm painting this because this is air dry clay and I don't want to lose any of the detail of the hound because his little fur is so cute. But as you can see how easy it is to paint. You can wait till the air dry clay dries or you can paint it while it's wet. Whatever you want to do and how much time you have. All right. When I knew it was my time for my scheduled live, I knew that I wanted to use the fox and the hound mold. So I Googled fox and hound, but of course, mostly what came up was the movie The Fox and the Hound, which is a great movie, but I chose not to do that. I saw another thing that said The Fox and Hound Tavern, so that is what I went with. All right, so look, you can see the detail. No, it's not acrylic. I'm gonna cover the brand, but it's Decor Metal. Yeah, I guess it would be acrylic paint. It's by it's a metal. It's new to my store, new to me. You did the same? Oh, you did this, Susan? You did a Fox and Hound Tavern? I love it. I would love to see your rendition of it. I always like to get other ideas. All right. Let's put this to the side. And voila. We are ready to decorate. So I like to be able to start to finish. So shows you how to that I stained it and then I put the white paint on it. Then we use a vintage on a bottle. Ooh, that's cool. Then I use a vintage texture stamp, which is right here. I'm going to show you, with a little bit of the ink, so you can see it. And there are some places where it didn't imprint, and other places where it did, which is fine. It just depends sometimes how much ink, how much you push down, and this is just the perfect look. Then, using, remember, the thin mount, I did this around the top, but when I did it with the tavern on the bottom, I didn't like the concave look of it, so I went with the straight look. And then, for fun, I did established in 1652. Those were just I just poured 4 letters, and that's the number that I came up with. All right, so let me just clean up this workspace. Now comes the fun part. I love details, and I love to accentuate details and add to them. And the paint is dry. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use some Gilding Wax. And we're going to do a couple layers just to give it that look. Because look at this. See the difference between these and these? For the first layer, I did use, this is acrylic paint. This is chocolate. It's matte. So I just used some. You can use chalk paint. You can use whatever kind of paint you want, but this was just handy. It was a nice brown, which matches what I'm going for. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to use probably, let's see, I'm going to go with bronze. Gilding waxes. Lots of different companies have gilding waxes. Use whatever your favorite brand is. So I like to generally use my finger. So though, they're kind of covered. But what's one more layer, right? Oh, I don't know what that means. I love it, but I don't know what it says. Yep. When you look for a particular picture in Fox Images, good, nice. We'll get rid of that one. Put that one back down. All right, so let's go. I'm going to just lightly put just on the top, just on the peak. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more, just so you can see. Can you see the little detail? It's still kind of dark, and there's a reason for that. We're layering, so this way it just looks more realistic. See that? Can you see? I'm trying to look at my screen. In person, you can see the different detail between the chocolate paint and the bronze gilding wax. It just adds another layer of depth to this sign. Okay. I'm going to run over all of my letters first. Yeah. Can you see that at home? Can you see the difference between the brown and added of the bronze? Let me just see if I can get that up there. You see that better? Not really. Okay. Trust me, you can. There's a huge difference. I of course post pictures so you can see it. All right. So next, what we're going to do is I really want, while these are drying here, I want to start accentuating the hound and the fox, because especially the hound, because you can see his all of his fur. Let me get my little opener. Now I'm going to use a little bit of black gilding just to showcase some of that fur. So I'm going to grab I'm going to use a brush this time. No, it just sounds better, Fox and the Hound. I could have done the Hound and the Fox, but I don't know. I wish I couldn't flip it around because that's the way the mold is, but I wish they were really facing each other. Thanks. Yeah. That's pretty funny. All right, let me get, no, I'll just use my finger. So I'm taking just some black gilding wax, and I'm just going to lightly go over some of the detail. This will not be the final detail. This is just one more of the layers, because when you add several layers, it just makes it look more authentic and more, just to me, I just like it way better. Now you really be able to see the on the fox, because he is kind of a copperish color. Okay, so like here, I went a little heavy on him, so I'm just going to wipe some of it back because I don't want it to be so dark. There you go. I can just rub that in. But I tell you what, you can really see the... All right, so... Oh, you're welcome, Nan. I'm one of those get in and get out. We all are busy. We don't have time for chit-chat, but... all right, so next is my favorite part. The best color gilding wax that I love is gold. Gold, gold, gold. Watch how it makes it all pop. Now I'm going to go put it right over everything we've just done. Watch. Hopefully I'll show it better on the camera. See the F? Woo! And I'm not fully covering it because I want that bronze to show through too. So we have the chocolate paint, then we have the bronze gilding wax, and we're topping it off with a little bit of gold just to make it pop. Whoa, what do you think? This, I tell you what, whoever invented gold gilding wax was brilliant. If you haven't tried gold gilding wax, it doesn't matter what brand, just gold gilding wax, you really need to. I add it to everything, furniture, everything that I do. Generally, it just adds so much. All right, look. Oh, good, Susan. I'm glad you can see that. All right, now I'm going to actually add it to the pup and the fox too. This is just going to add a little bit more. It really, really, really shows now the detail between the black, the bronze on him, and all you can see is fur. Look at that. Almost looks like old brass, which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to put some on the fox. And a little bit on his tail. Ta-da! Now look at that. Amazing. However, we're not done. We still need to do a little bit on the outside of our sign. Let me just zoom out just a little bit. Oops. Oh, there we go. Now, the easiest thing that I like to do is you can either do it with paint or you can do it with the stamp pad. I haven't re-inked this. I have my ink here if I need to. You don't need a lot. I'm going to use the color Stone, and I'm just going to run it on the edge. Can you see that? I'll do it right across here so you can see it better. Let me zoom in on that part. There we go. All right, so now see the accent it gives it? It gives it an old appearance because the white is kind of bright. And then I'm going to do it right across here, a little on the edges, and then just lightly across all of it, just to pick up on all of that texture that I added in the paint. You see that? So now it truly looks like an old sign. All right, let's go to the sides. I'll turn it this way so you can see. I'm huge for details. I'm very detail oriented, both with crafts and projects, but there we go. See the difference? See how that just adds to it? I'm going to the top. If I would have re-inked this, I think it would have been too much ink, so I like to do this when I haven't re-inked it in a little bit of a hot minute. All right, let me just do a little bit more on this side. Whoops. You can also take the paintbrush and just lightly go in. You could take some dark wax and put that in there, but I like to just, since I already have this out, I'm just going to lightly put some in there. All right, let me zoom back out and you can see. Here we are. Now, what do you think? Does it look like an old tavern sign? This one even has like a little string. All right, well, does anybody have any questions? This was super easy to make, super fun to make. I actually made one over the weekend. I made this one over the weekend. I played with it, and I showed a little bit on my own personal Pick and Boots Facebook page. But after I saw how unique and how fun that was to make, I decided it'd be really cool to make it into a sign, like the shape of a sign. So here it is. And remember, this is what it started like when I was gluing all my letters on. Look at that. What a difference. All right, so let me get you back up here. I just want to say thank you very much for joining me. My name is Shannon Stefanacci. I'm with Pick and Boots Vintage in sunny Southwest Florida. I'll be back on in 2 weeks, Monday at noon Eastern. Let's see, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I'll be back with another fun, quick project. Hopefully you'll be inspired. If you guys happen to make one of these, I would love to see it. Tag me at Pick and Boots. Also, don't forget about the Chateau paint inlay, this gorgeous inlay. If you haven't tried it yet, try it. If you're nervous about it, just take a little corner and test it on something. I'm going to be doing another door just like this live on my YouTube channel starting next week, three-part series. All right, thank you, and you guys have a fabulous day.